Now tuned into the greatest.
The Run with Manny Wilson podcast.
The Run with Manny Wilson podcast.
The best sports podcast there is.
Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson, all the way from Detroit to Chicago to your speakers and headphones. And I appreciate you tuning in to the first interactive sports podcast, a community that makes sure your voice is heard. So if you hear something you agree with, you disagree with, you like, you dislike, or even if you just want to outsmart me on something I said, go ahead, shoot me a call, 219-413-9405. And of course, we will play your take back on our next episode. And shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring this episode. Get $20 off your first ticket purchase when you use the promo code The Run Podcast. This code can only be applied for first-time users on the mobile app or website. So I don't know about you, but baseball season is going strong right now. So I'm going to definitely go to a couple Cubs and Sox games, create me an account real quick, and use that promo code. Anyway, look, man, in the NBA, there's actually some news going on. It's a slow time for sports, as we've all really realized right now. As they call it, list season. But I ain't got no list for y'all. I don't want to go that route right now. Anyway, look, the Los Angeles Clippers, they've sent the former MVP Russell Westbrook over to the Denver Nuggets in a 3-team deal involving the Utah Jazz. So all you need to know, I'm not about to get into the crazy specifics. All you need to know is Clippers, they landed Chris Dunn. The Jazz, they got a second-round pick with some cash in return. And then the Denver Nuggets, they got Russell Westbrook, which is going to be good for them. However, y'all got to calm down a little bit. Don't expect Russell Westbrook to go over there and be the 2015 MVP like he was. Don't expect that type of Russell Westbrook when he goes to the Denver Nuggets. That's not going to happen. So, it's good. He's going to be a good help. He's going to be a tremendous help. But above all, the core in the Denver Nuggets is obviously Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, and Michael Porter Jr. And then now you even have Aaron Gordon because he's been playing on another level lately. So, it's going to help bench support-wise, having Russ to come off the bench. I'm assuming that'll probably be the route that he goes, is coming off the bench because, I wouldn't start him over Jamal Murray. I wouldn't dare try and put him in at the 2 with Jamal Murray. So, it's going to be good. But the thing here that I really feel he'll have the most impact is kind of being the void filler of Bruce Brown. When the Denver Nuggets had Bruce Brown, we seen he brought energy off the bench. He played defense. He grabbed rebounds. He made good plays. He had to hustle plays. He was cleanup man to an extent when he was with the Denver Nuggets. And I see Russell Westbrook coming in, kind of playing that same role that Bruce Brown played. Come off the bench, clean up, grab some rebounds, pass the ball, make the right passes, penetrate the defense, get to the cup, get the easy buckets. Like, I see Russ playing that same role, and there's no doubt in my mind that he can play that role efficiently. But for anybody who was thinking that he was going to come in and be a scorer, oh yeah, you done lost your mind. What did you think he was going to do? Come in and get priority over Jamal Murray or Nikola Jokic? Absolutely not. That's not the way that team is going to be. He's going to impact the game by playing clean up man coming off the bench. It's going to be a huge help, but you got to consider the fact that everybody else in the Western Conference also got a little bit better. You're going to be seeing Anthony Edwards come back in his second deep playoff run, coming for a vengeance. Really trying to go on another deep playoff run. Obviously, Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, they grabbed up Klay Thompson, which is going to be a huge help for them. And everybody else is making moves in the West. Oh, don't forget. The Lakers, they grabbed Bronny Jr. They grabbed Bronny. No, I'm messing with you. But anyway, everybody has gotten a little bit better in the Western Conference. So a good move. It's going to help the Denver Nuggets. But above all, it's not going to be that life-changing, move that's going to put them over top to become another finals team, or that's going to guarantee them to a finals run. No, that work still has to be done. They're going to need some more people to still come in. Hopefully they can continue to keep Caldwell Pope if he's there. I haven't checked the latest of the reports yet for that, but they're still going to need to keep their pieces to help out the big three of Murray, Jokic, and Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon as well. I guess the 4 key guys. They're going to need to help them out. So other than that, look, man, we got a voicemail call here because I was talking some trash about Dak Prescott, and, it wasn't sitting right with everybody who heard it. So I got the voicemail here. He had to go ahead and say something, get it off his chest regarding my comments toward Dak Prescott being a top 5 quarterback. Here it is. Let's hear what he had to say.
What's going on, Manny? This is JB. I've been on your show before.
What's the deal?
I'm not going to take too much of your time, but I wanted to chime in on the Dak Prescott elite conversation you were having. My humble opinion, Dak Prescott, as well as the Dallas Cowboys organization, are overrated. In the past 7 to 8 years, Dak has a 2-5 playoff record. So I know you had mentioned that he has more touchdowns, more yards, better completion percentage, less interceptions than quarterbacks such as Jared Goff, Patrick Mahomes, Brock Purdy, Jordan Love. But he doesn't have the playoff success that those guys have. I look at his playoff resume. I see a lot of 1 touchdown performances. He's never gotten past the divisional round. So that's why I feel like Dak Prescott is overrated. At the end of the day, it falls on the quarterback to help push and propel your team to the playoffs. You should get better as the playoffs come around. Your stats shouldn't shrink once you get to the playoffs. Yeah, that was my time. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so you know what? Facts. You speaking facts on there, JB. I appreciate that. Okay, so look, man, here's how I'm going to address that, because there was a lot of facts about the playoff performances. That's usually where we always give Dak a lot of hell from his playoff performances. As you just mentioned, they've been shit. He has not been able to win in the playoffs. The Cowboys haven't had a playoff win in years, I think maybe even a decade or so. But they've been bad for some time every time they show up in the playoffs. However, the only thing I can mention in that conversation of what he does in the postseason, I don't think it's all on him. I think it's part of the team. And you look at last year's game when him and CeeDee Lamb was just not on the same page. They did not get it cooking together. And you can't fully blame Dak for that. You can't fully blame CeeDee Lamb, because it was just clear that guys just weren't on the same page. People were running the wrong routes outside of CeeDee Lamb. But obviously, it's harder for Dak to target those guys and get the ball where it needs to be if, people are running the wrong routes and the game is just not flowing on all cylinders for everyone else. It'd be different if Dak was missing wide open throws or he was just overthrowing these wide open touchdown balls. That would be different. Then I wouldn't have anything to say. And while that may have happened on a play or two, that's not usually the case, or that wasn't the case throughout the game that we've seen. And especially in these playoff performances, that definitely wasn't the case. It's usually always an additional factor to Dak playing bad, whether it's guys dropping passes, running the wrong routes, the O-line not being there, or the defense giving up more points than what the offense can produce. So I 100% agree. Hey, playoff wins is important. You need those. I mean, you shouldn't be considered a great quarterback if you're not winning, but also I disagree with that logic all the time, because then that we kind of fall into a slippery slope of, is Aaron Rodgers a GOAT? Because he's only had 1 Super Bowl win, and Tom Brady has 7 Super Bowl wins. Then we kind of get into that debate, because even though Aaron Rodgers hasn't been winning as much as Tom Brady, he damn sure has just enough skill. So I can't help but to think about that when I'm saying, all right, well, this guy doesn't have the playoff wins behind it. He's not winning in the postseason to really help his team. It's hard to go down that slippery slope. But again, I understand what you mean to your point of you got to win as a quarterback. And no way in hell will I ever put him over Pat Mahomes, or if I had to start a franchise, I'm not taking him over Joe Burrow and a lot of other guys in the league, maybe, from how I would want to run my offense. But based on last season and the production that he's been having over the course of the past maybe 3 to 4 years, Dak has, skill-wise, he's up there in the top 5 based on last season and coming into this upcoming NFL season. I still stand on it. That he's a top 5 quarterback. So, that's just my thoughts, but that was a great perspective, JB. I, of course, appreciate you calling. Anybody heard this and they're like, you know what, I want to chime in on, is Dak a top 5 quarterback, and who else is a top 5 quarterback? Go ahead, shoot us a quick take. 219-413-9405. Go ahead, call us, and then, of course, we'll play your take back on our next episode. But anyway, look, man, we got some stuff coming up. Got a side note about some Netflix show called Receiver. And then also, too, San Francisco 49ers Brandon Aiyuk, he has requested a trade from the San Francisco 49ers. So we'll touch on that in just a second. Don't go anywhere. It's halftime. We'll be right back. All All right, so usually this is where we cut into the news. We break some news about what's been going on in the sports world. But as I told y'all earlier in the episode, this is list season. It's not much news happening. You got the MLB going on. They just came back from the All-Star break and all of that. But, in terms of NFL, NBA, and, even football, soccer, like, it's still not much news going on. So we're going to skip the news for today. And then we're jumping straight into this quick note here. So Receiver, the Netflix show, I told y'all, like, it's a spinoff of the Netflix show Quarterback. I thought it was dope. Quarterback gave a lot of insight on just, behind the scenes of the quarterbacks and, what they go through and how they prepare for games and stuff like that. But seeing Receiver is pretty dope because obviously, as some of us already know, a receiver can only be as good as the quarterback they have. And I love that the show shows all three different levels of, receivers in different positions. You got the receiver who has a stacked team, great tight end, and a quarterback who can get the ball off, protected well by the O-line, meaning George Kittle being a tight end and Deebo Samuel being the wide receiver who's making plays on a great team. You got Amon-Ra St. Brown with the Lions, has a great quarterback. Then you got Devontae Adams over in the Las Vegas Raiders. That it's cool that it shows quarterbacks on each level. And early on, I haven't finished the season or nothing like that, but it's dope because early on you see the struggles that the Raiders had last season, and you almost feel bad for Devontae Adams. At one point, it was like, I hope this dude requests a trade to get out of this situation. Obviously, we knew he didn't do that, and we know the Raiders story of last season, they got a little bit better, but, it's just crazy and interesting to see. So that's the first thing. I love how they drew up the show. And then next, bro, I've gained so much respect for Amon-Ra St. Brown, bro. This dude is dope. In terms of his mentality, I'm like 1,000% a fan of how he approaches the game. Didn't know he spoke 3 different languages, all of the above, bro. And his brother, same type of mentality, all of that. That's dope. His brother plays with the Bears. Don't know if he's still there, but Amon-Ra, bro, dude approaches the game how we looked at Kobe in the way he approached the game at one point. If that makes any sense, it's just dope to see someone take it that serious. I mean, he's been playing half the season with a torn oblique last year. Didn't even know that was the case. He had multiple injuries. But that oblique injury was probably the worst, and he just continued to play game after game after game. It was insane. Never really recovered. Probably not. Like I said, I didn't get all the way to the end, but probably never even recovered from what the injury originally stimulated from. So it's just crazy to see him fight through all that pain and actually still stick to the task of trying to be a decent receiver in the NFL. And obviously, we know he's one of the best receivers in the NFL too. Anyway, look though, let's move on because Brandon Aiyuk, he requested a trade from the San Francisco 49ers here. Speaking of receivers, and Brandon Aiyuk, man, I'm curious of where he goes. There was a podcast on a pivot. He was talking about possibly going to play with Jaden Daniels over in Washington. Wouldn't really think that's the best move, but above all, as we know right now, Brandon Aiyuk is trying to chase his bag. He's trying to collect the bag from all the work he's done in the NFL up to this point. And a lot of people get upset about it because they're like, all right, you're supposed to want to win. The game is about winning. You're not supposed to want to just get paid. And let me ask you something first and foremost. Would you go to work if they said, hey, we can't pay you anymore? Would you still show up to work every single day, or would you find something else to do? Find another job to go to? Because that's exactly what he's going to. He's trying to go work with this organization, and they're like, hey, we don't want to pay you this much. So if you come back, you can only do this. And I know, hey, anything is anything in terms of pay that's going to help a team win. But above all, guys in the NFL only have a limited window of when they're at their peak. Like, it's not like NBA and baseball where a guy can have a 20-year-long career in that league. No, that's not the case at all in the NFL, especially with receivers. And when guys are at their peak, that's the only time they're going to get paid like that. Brandon Aiyuk is at his peak right now, coming off a great season, and he's trying to collect the dollar because down the line, yeah, he may get presented with another opportunity to go to a championship team and help win. But as of right now, when he's at the best of the best in his skill set, you got to go collect the money, bro. You got to secure the bag when you're out there because we don't know how much longer he'll have in the league. Because truth be told, he only had 2 more seasons and then he's done. But you never know. But anyway, look, man, that's all I got for y'all today. Appreciate you for kicking it with me. If you've made it all the way this far. Anyway, look, shoot us a quick take, 219-413-9405. And of course, we'll play your take back on our next episode. And then go ahead, use the promo code to get $20 off your next SeatGeek purchase. Use that promo code to run podcast. And it can only be applied to first-time users, so go ahead, create that account. And then I'm going to leave y'all with this positive note here. I heard something today. It came from Kevin Hart. He was just saying, like, a lot of times everyone has a different level of comfort. So you might be chasing something, but as long as you can, like, do what you want and do what you enjoy and you can do it comfortably, sometimes stuff might be stressful, but as long as you can do what you want and it's comfortable for you, then you're already winning. I think that just puts things into perspective because definitely for me, I get on here, I talk, I edit, I do all these different things, and I'm like constantly working, but sometimes I lose sight of I'm doing what the dream is. What I want to do maybe on a larger scale in the future, but ultimately I'm able to work toward what I want to do on a larger scale. It's going to be the same thing 30 years from now. I'm hoping I'm still talking shit about podcasts and you know, talking shit about players of the next generation and all of that. But at the end of the day, it's like I'm still doing what the goal is, just on a smaller scale of where I hope to be. So, you know, and I'm comfortable with it, but I'm also hungry, if that makes any sense. That's a whole nother story. But above all, like, I'm able to take care of my responsibilities that I have outside of this and all of that. So thankful for that. And it's like I'm comfortable in that sense. And it allows me to still be able to do what I want to work toward, which is podcasting and stuff. So, you know, take that however you want to attain that information. But, you know, if you're living somewhat comfortable, you're taking care of your things, and you have space to do even a little bit of what you enjoy doing. Maybe it's just one day out the week, whatever the case is. You're already winning. You're already winning. All right, look, man. Anyway, send this to a cousin, a brother, an aunt, and uncle, a niece, and nephew, anyone you know who may enjoy the conversation, or especially if I talked about their team. Anyway, look, man, that's all I got for y'all today. I appreciate you for kicking it. And then we'll be back later on next week, and so on and so on and so on.